This is John T for the Boxing Voice, and I'm really pleased to be joined this evening by rising hot American middleweight star, Austin Ammo Williams. How are you, Austin?
I'm doing great. I just finished up training. My next fight should be longer. It will be longer. 1 second. It will be longer. So I was in the gym. We did 10 rounds today, and I'm feeling it. I'm kind of tired, but it's all for the greater good. So I feel great.
Excellent stuff. Well, look, we're going to come on to your pro career in a minute because you're flying at the moment, and I know you've been on some big cards, and there's a big 2021 expected for you. But tell us a little bit about your amateur career first, if you don't mind. You know, what I've read about you is really decorated. In fact, what I read today was you were the #1 amateur middleweight in America, and that there, look at that smile. That's a big statement. So how does that feel?
That feels great, especially as a middleweight, because as everybody goes through the amateurs, you see which weight classes are really competitive and which weight classes lack. So, I mean, if you say you're a world champion, if you say you're #1 in the nation at the lowest weight class, then most of the time it's not much guys there. So it's not saying a lot. But when you get into the middleweight division, light middleweight division, even 178, well, it kind of drops off at 178, but 165 is one that I believe is the most competitive. I believe it's the most competitive weight class in the amateurs. So to become #1 in the United States in that class really gave me a lot of confidence to go pro early. And about my amateur career, I went open after only 2 fights. I only had 2 novice fights. And then I went open, won Golden Gloves a couple of times, had a couple Western regional championships, national championships. I defended my title and then Western national championships, and I became #1. So it's just been a really good fast track. I was only in the amateurs for 2.5 years, so I didn't spend much time. And everybody knows I started late, so I just really was like, you know what, just get me to the highest level of competition, because I really believed that I was one of the greater athletes in the whole pool of fighters. And I knew if I was fighting at those high levels, I would adjust. Even if I lost the fight, I didn't care. I just wanted to get my feet wet in that top level, elite level competition so that I couldn't go any lower. You know, I'm always shooting for the stars. So my amateur career just showed that.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, well, moving into the pro career. How old are you now then, Austin?
I'm 24.
24. So you're still young, but I get what you mean. You're not young when you've gone pro. How long have you been pro now? 18 months or so?
I've been pro almost 2 full years. April will make 2 full years. So I got a little bit of experience now. I feel really seasoned as a pro. And the reason why I feel so seasoned as a pro right now is because of the venues that I fought and the cars that I fought on and the situations that I've been in, like fighting. People don't understand fighting a swing bout, being a swing bout and things like that. That gives you a lot of experience because you have to be ready at every second of the show, of the entire show. You have to be ready at every second. And I did that on Anthony Joshua's card against Ruiz in the first one. And then, as you see, I mean, just this last fight I had, fighting in Texas on the undercard of Canelo and Smith, just things like that have happened to me so frequently. I don't even remember many fights that haven't been grand besides Mexico. And that still was a beautiful production. It just was no crowd. So even though I haven't been a pro for really long, I still feel very seasoned, you know?
Yeah, well, look, you're making my job really easy, Austin, because I was about to ask you about some of these cards. So they've already fast-tracked you, as you said. You've had 7 fights in those. I've just worked out it's 21 months it'll be right now, 24 months in April. You've had 7 fights. You've got your 7 wins. Most of your fights have been on big cards. So that tells me the confidence that Matchroom and Kevin Rooney have in you to get you out on those cards. How did you find the Madison Square Garden and the Joshua Ruiz fight? That must have been a huge occasion over there.
That was amazing. And I fought right before Katie Taylor fought. So the arena was packed. That still was the most packed house I've ever fought in. I remember the ring walk. It was like 3 or 4 cameras in my face. I seen myself on a jumbotron. This was my first experience with that. So my heart was racing. I was excited. I wanted to do something amazing in a fight, of course. And then you got the pressures of everybody watching. Everybody's there. And I'm like, this is my second fight. This is my second fight as a pro. And to have this experience is amazing. And then when I got into the fight, the guy, I think he was feeling the same thing I was feeling because he came out super frantic and sporadic. And you have to match that energy. So it's a certain level where you have to somewhat match someone's energy when they are extremely sporadic. Of course, you can't go all the way to their level because then it just becomes an extremely wild fight. But you can't be too relaxed with a fighter like that either because they're overthrowing combinations. They're throwing like, instead of throwing a normal 1, 2, 3, they throwing 7 and 8 shots and things. So you just got to match the energy, but keep calm. And that's what I had to do with that kid. And that was the first time I ever got cut. And he actually cut me with an elbow. And I felt that. It was just that experience was just such a blur. But I think those types of experiences showed Matchroom something that I wasn't even trying to show them yet. You know, that I can handle the lights, I can handle the pressures of the people, and I can handle the pressures of being on the spot, you know? So all of those things came together and helped me out in the long run.
Well, you're obviously impressed, as I said, because he got you back out. Eddie and Kevin got you back out on some big cards again. I think maybe one of the next big ones was you actually came over to England, did you not, and fought at the O2 in London? Are you close friends with Regis Prograis? Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, me and Regis has known me since I started boxing. He's known me through my amateur career. He's helped me get ready for fights through my amateur career. I've helped him get ready through fights through my pro career. And now it's actually looking like he may fight in March again. Don't quote me on that, but that's what's the talks in the gym. And we'll be in camp again together. I love being in camp with Regis. I mean, his work ethic is just off the chart. So if you're working with him, you have no choice but to max or exceed, to match or exceed what he's doing. And we had this friendly like competition. Like, I'm gonna work harder than you, and you're gonna work harder than me. And of course, that's always the best thing to have because it just elevates. It makes you push for those extra reps and things like that. So yeah, Regis, and then we're super close outside of the ring. So he's like a brother to me. He really helped me through, gave me a lot of guidance in the game. And, you know, he's had a lot of experiences to this day that I don't have. So I think he still has a lot to offer to me about like advice and giving me the ropes and the rundown before I actually go into these situations myself. So
it must be fantastic having what you sounds like almost like a brother, like a best friend with you at elite level, because when you've got people close to you that aren't fighters, it's great to have the support, but having someone who's been through it will guide you really well. How did we treat you when you were over in London? Did you enjoy your experience?
It was amazing. Oh my goodness. I stayed in London for almost a month because I came with Regis when he was training for Josh Taylor. So I stayed for almost a month. I got to know so many people out there. I still have friends that I met just being around. You know, it wasn't COVID time yet, so everybody could socialize. And I mean, I met people from restaurants, and I didn't have a big name at the time, so I just had to get to know people as Austin, you know, and I still keep in touch with them on WhatsApp and stuff like that. And then the fight was awesome. Even the guy, which is so crazy, even the guy that I fought, Miroslav Juna, even him, me and him are good friends. And he's from the Czech Republic, so he sends me messages and stuff in their language, and then I just go to Google and translate it and send it back. But I just made so many great connections and great friends over there. And then I also got to catch up with a lot of Brits that seen me when I fought on the Anthony Joshua card. Yeah. So it was a really great experience for me. I loved London. I would love to come back to London.
I'm sure we'll have you back over here when you're fighting for titles and that. We're getting started middleweights over here. So after that, another big fight. I think you just mentioned it. Maybe you did or didn't, but the Canelo fight. So probably, and for a lot of people, he's a pound for pound star on the planet. And you were on that card only a couple of weeks ago. How was that experience? So I appreciate it was a bit different with less fans there, but still fighting on a Canelo card must have been great.
Fighting on the Canelo card was outstanding. And to have it in Texas was amazing too, because when I came out, I was the first fighter to broadcast. So the place was not completely packed yet. But how many people in there was there to support just because I was from Texas was crazy. If you even watch the video like of me stopping the kid and all that, you can't even hear me. You can't hear my voice. The arena was so loud. It was electric in there fighting, and that was just something that I just fell in love with all over again, because I'm a fighter that does feed off the energy of the crowd. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's fun. It just brings an extra, it just makes the fight more fun, you know, and exciting for the fighters. And then it's also it gives you another level of strategy, because I can hit a fighter with something and he can just trip, and the whole crowd might go, "Oh my God," I think that is crazy, but he really just tripped. Now, if I take that and I really apply myself as if I hurt the kid because of the crowd, then I can get hurt. So I even like having that aspect of a great crowd, of an electric crowd. I love having that aspect because that's another piece on the chessboard that a lot of other fighters aren't used to playing with, you know? I got lucky to be able to fight on all of these cards with massive crowds and things like that. So that puts something in my back pocket. I can actually use the crowd as a tool to play on the fighters, you know, confuse them and things like that. So that Canelo experience, especially being in Texas, was one that I will never forget. The love and the support and the reception that I got after the fight. I was out giving hugs and taking pictures and signing autographs. I was out there. I felt like it wasn't even a COVID-19 wasn't coming around, because everybody just wanted to, you know, just have a piece of me. So it was an amazing experience. Yeah.
I'm sure that when you're headlining, Texas will be somewhere that you will want to be doing that, and maybe again down the line for some title fights. So when do we think we'll get you out next? And the question would be, do you think they'll be stepping up the levels again with you, because they've done that in recent fights?
What's in the talks right now is me fighting on the Estrada card.
Nice.
And the competition we looking at, I mean, we finalized one guy who I'm gonna leave as a surprise, because it's gonna be kind of like, wow, Ammo's doing that already. But the first person we contacted was Hugo Centeno Jr. And he's number 4 in the nation. And it's a couple other names, but we started that low. Matchroom started at Hugo Centeno Jr. for my next opponent. So I'm just saying that to say that should give you a scope of what Matchroom is trying to do with me. And I've had long talks with Matchroom. I mean, not even just in public press conferences and stuff. No, one second.
Okay.
One second. I got a call.
Yeah. No.
Oh, but not just press conferences and public things like that. I've had many long talks with Eric Botcher, Kevin Rooney, straight talking to Eddie Hearn and things like that about how fun it is for me to step up and fight the person that I'm not supposed to be fighting. It doesn't look like Ammo's supposed to be fighting this person on paper. And then I go out and I knock that kid out. That's just the best feeling in the world for me, because when I step up to fight people, it just has me so excited and so sharp and so ready to go. I mean, I actually look forward to those fights a lot more than I look forward to fighting somebody who I'm supposed to beat, you know? So we got out of that whole swing of just fighting guys I'm supposed to beat. We getting out of that early. I mean, before I'm even a 2-year veteran, you know? So that you're definitely going to see step ups to the point where if we doing how we're supposed to be doing, if we're moving how we're supposed to be moving, I should have a title shot. Not a world championship title, of course, but something of the caliber of the USBA or something. I should have a shot like that by the end of the year. And I honestly think in March, if I knock this kid out, I believe I might get a title shot in the next fight, because if I'm a fighter that attracts people, makes money. I mean, if I'm a fighter that attracts people, makes money for the company. Everybody's buying tickets. People are coming to the fights and watching on Dazn and stuff like that. If I'm that fighter and I'm knocking people out, that's a formula for everybody to win. So I'm sure Matchroom wouldn't, shoot themselves in the foot and try to slow me down, and we've talked about it and everybody's on board with it. At this point, it's pretty much all up to my performances. If I go into this next fight and I just don't do great, then I can see them slowing me down. But if I go into this next fight and I spark this kid out like the Isaiah Jones fight, or maybe 1, 2, or 3 rounds, I see myself getting a title shot next.
Brilliant. Well, look, you're with the right people. You've got Eddie and you've got Kevin, as you said. They'll guide you brilliant. They've been around a long time. They know what they're doing in the sport. When do you? So who do you think that you would like to go for? You mentioned a title. I think of like Boo Boo. He's got one of the titles. Someone like that, maybe.
Who has a title?
Andrade.
Andre. With me, I don't set my sights on anybody anymore. Just as I got deep, you know what? Actually, the preparation for this fight, the fight that I'm about to have, that actually showed me why you shouldn't set your sights on anybody. Because a lot of these fighters, we think that they're just ready to fight anybody, but they're really not. And of course, everybody has a say in who they fight and who they don't. So if you're really if you're putting your sights on a certain fighter and you're moving to get to a certain fighter and things like that, they might not ever fight you, and then you're just wasting your energy. So what I do is I'm pretty much just trying to maximize myself right now. So when I get the call, it doesn't matter what fighter it is, I'm going to give them my best. Like, I'm going to fight the best I've ever fought in my life, no matter who it is. I've seen enough styles to pretty much be able to adapt and adjust. Like, say Andre did take the contract when that time comes, then we would be able to watch him and then make the adjustments that needed to be made in the camp. So that's why I just don't. It's anybody who I can get the opportunity from is who I will take.
It's a really sensible way to look at it, mate, because we've seen so many times, certainly over in Britain, I've watched a few fighters where they've been waiting for that one fighter and they kept them hanging. And then before you know it, 3 years has gone by and wasted time, and you don't seem like you want to be sat waiting. I think the good thing is, quote me if I'm wrong, but Matchroom, in terms of their American stable, you have got Andrade and Danny Jacobs, so that those kind of level of fights to make because of the promotional side of it. So look, Eddie and has got some great names there for you. Well, look, great talking to you. Really, thanks for taking time out to come on the site, and we'll catch up with you probably the week before your next fight, if that's all right.
That is fine. And before I go, I just really want to say, all of this stuff would not be happening without Matchroom's belief in me and without Eddie's belief in me. And I would have never fought on Madison Square Garden. I would have never fought on the Canelo card if they didn't believe in me. So it's so many factors to the success I'm having that's so much beyond myself. I just want to take this time to say this thank you to everybody. Thank you to my management company with Sam and Pete. Thank you to my coaches, Dwight, Bobby, my family, my dad. Everybody's there for me. I mean, I wouldn't be here without them. So once again, shout out to Matchroom. I'm excited to bring some belts back.
Brilliant stuff. Well done. Thanks, Austin. We'll catch you soon, yeah?
No problem, John. Thank you.
All the best, buddy. See you soon.
So if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, from title, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.